Yeah, yeah.
Coming up on Mental Health Marty. Bro, are you good? Hey, we're talking about mental health awareness for men. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Yes, it's me, Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, coming to you live and always in living color in Southern California, where the sun is always shining. And we are so glad that you are here with us tonight. What is going on? How you feeling? We're getting ready for the 4th of July weekend coming up here and all these activities that's going on. Hey, let us know you're out there listening and let us know where you're listening from. How you bees, how you been, how you doing? Hopefully everyone is feeling well. I'm trying to get over this summer cold. There's nothing worse than having a summer cold, y'all. So stay with us, stay tuned. But we are so glad that you are here with us today. So what have you been up to? What is going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? And I'm so glad to be here with you. Hope you enjoyed the show last week, where we had none other than my brother from another mother, Thomas Davis from the DMV area, as we continue this dialogue and conversation on Men's Awareness, Health Awareness Month in the month of June. But listen, let me give you a little bit backdrop of who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do. And so I'm so glad that you asked us that question. The Mental Health Marty Show is purely a psychoeducational program to bring you awareness and to help stop the stinking thinking so that we can change the negative stigma that is often associated with mental health and mental health services in our BIPOC communities. And so we want to eradicate that and let you know it's okay not to be okay, and that we need to be seeking out services from other means that we can, whether it's your therapist, your psychiatrist, your psychologist. And because you're seeing those people, your life coach, your pastor, your priest, what have you, does not mean that you necessarily have a problem. Life happens. Things happen. And just because you might be going through a mental health crisis does not necessarily mean you have a mental health diagnosis. Nevertheless, if you are experiencing any type of crisis, we want you to definitely go to your nearest urgent care, get some help, dial 988, which is the national helpline anywhere across the nation from any type of phone, and you can get the necessary help that you need in order to survive and manage your day. Listen, you can sometimes just wake up and be in a crisis as things hit you. And the way that we're living this world, you watch too much CNN, NBC, ABC. We won't even talk about Fox, and you will be stressed the hell out. But we are so glad that you have joined us in this program. Now, how do you engage in the program, and how do we see your comments? I am so glad that you asked that question as well. Y'all on point tonight. So to engage with us, we definitely want you to go to the YouTube channel. Now the YouTube, I say that every week. We want you to go over to YouTube and subscribe to Mental Health Marty. And you definitely do that by hitting that subscribe button and the like. When you hear that bing, that lets you know that you are going to be engaged in the conversations. And please, we will see your comments there. So definitely see that. If you're on Facebook or any other social media network, we will see those unfortunately after the show. And so don't get mad that we don't see it. So if you want us to comment on something, go to YouTube so we can see your comments there. Yes, Kwame, what's going on, my brother? Hope all is well. Miss you like crazy. We appreciate you. And please check out all the amazing work that Kwame is doing. He is like the producer behind none other than the great Dr. Donta Morrison and his shows and everything else. So listen, I'm so glad to have this brother with us today. We are talking about, as we finish this month, with talking about men's health and men's mental health and what that looks like. We know that statistically, Black men have a life expectancy of 7 to 12 years less than their white and Hispanic counterparts. Why is that? Because we oftentimes do not take care of our mental, physical, and emotional health. And it's so imperative that we begin to peel back the layers and what we're doing with that. How do we? And there is a direct correlation between our mental health and our physical, psychological health and everything in that regards. Yes. Hey, brother, appreciate you. Thank you for watching us, because we have to do much better with taking care of our health. I just had my appointment with my doctor. He says, listen, bro, you're doing all right. He told me I could lose probably about another 10, 15 pounds. And I said, listen, doc, I'm in my 50s. I'm doing the best I can. But cholesterol is to be concerned about. Blood pressure is getting it under control. No diabetes, none of those things. So for a 50-plus-year-old man, we are doing well. And he encouraged me to keep my body moving and keep it flowing. So we have to have those regular checkups and everything that we're doing. I make sure I get a full blood panel every quarter to make sure everything is going well. I found out I have a little bit of low vitamin D deficiency. So they're giving me this for the next couple months, a boost in my vitamin D. And it's good to know those things. So I also have to look at, am I tired? What is going on with my emotional and physical health? And that's what we're having the conversation about. Bro, are you good? And we got to learn to check up on each other to make sure we are good. So I'm so glad that tonight that I have, I got so many bros that I'm so excited to have him. He's been on here. He is no stranger, but I'm so glad he's chosen to be back with us today, all the way from LA, the king, the master, the legend, the myth, the legend, the none other than Dr. Donta Morrison. Donta!
What's up, Marty?
What's up, man? How are you?
King, legend. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Come on. You're legendary. Come on. Huh?
Now I gotta live up to that.
Hey, you've already lived up to. Listen, you have nothing to prove. Your work is already done, and it's no secret, Donta. You are definitely legendary in the LA space when it comes to health and wellness of our Black and brown LGBTQ community, and the work that you've done for so many years that have gone unnoticed, whether people want to recognize it or not. But I want to recognize all the many work that you have done. Yes, I still check up in on those I serve with that are still, I love that. We got to keep checking up on people in that regards. But Donta, again, salute to you, brother, and all the work that you are doing. And I am so proud and honored to call you my boy, my ninja, a friend, someone I can call on, and if you want to just go ahead and give me a little check for 10,000, you balling like that, I'll take it. And, but man, how you been?
I am blessed. I'm going through a lot of transitions and changes this season, but I'm looking forward to all this in store. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. Mental
yes, sir.
But that's every day. Being Black in America always stresses us out. So mentally, that's a day by day thing. But I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good. I'm going to put a pin on that because I want to go back to that because oftentimes we think that strong brothers aren't supposed to go through or have those times that you just feel like,
Mhm.
and it's okay. It's just a part of life.
Right.
But for those two or three people who may not know who you are and your dossier of accomplishments and everything
A
that you've
great
done,
word.
yes, I'm trying to, reading is fundamental. It's fundamental. I'm trying to get my PhD like you, bro. I'm just master's level. You doctor. I'm just Marty. We got to put some respect in your name, Doctor
I
Dante.
love
So,
it.
Doctor Dante, can you please share with the people all the work and the great things that you are doing?
Sure. Man, it's a lot. So I am Dr. Dante Morrison. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I do a lot of work in the sexual health space, specifically focusing
Mm,
on HIV prevention, awareness, treatment, linkage to care, all that kind of stuff.
yes.
Mostly targeting young black and brown gay men or men who have sex with men. And I say men who have sex with men because we want to talk about the behavior, not the identity. It's a lot of
Right.
men who have sex with men that identify as heterosexual or straight, but they still fall within that risk category. So I really like to just
Okay.
have good, comprehensive conversations about sexual health. Outside of that, I do a lot of work within the faith space. So I am the
Yes.
faith-based ambassador for the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. I am challenged
Okay.
to pull in Black clergy to have conversations about sexual health and to educate them on how their churches can become more responsive to the needs of persons who are at risk or living with HIV, and how we can just shift the narrative within the Black church to just have more healthy, engaging conversations about human sexuality as a whole. Um, Outside of that, I'm an author. I have two books out, in The End of the Rainbow and Yesterday Clarified. The first book has been turned into a scripted series, so that's going to release on July
Wow. Wait, wait, wait.
26th on
Stop the
Watch Them.
presses. Stop
Yeah,
the presses. Stop the presses. Wait a minute. See, that's what I told y'all. You never know who's gonna come up on this show. Yes, yes. That's right. Broken for a
Broken
breakthrough.
for a
Come
Breakthrough.
on,
Hey,
broken
that's
for a
my frat
breakthrough.
brother. That's my frat brother. What's up,
Come
fam?
on,
What's
frat
up?
brother. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Wait a minute. Now I read the books. I read the books. And
Uh-huh.
and your books got me through some dark times when I was going through my divorce and everything. I just needed something to get my mind off of it. And you're telling me that this has turned into a see, that's what I'm saying. In fact, turn my 10,000 up to 25 because you anytime you can put something out there and everything. We're
Keep
going to
hope
talk
alive.
about that. Yes, yes,
Right,
keep hope alive.
right.
Congratulations, man, that you
Thank
turned your
you.
book into a series. Come on.
The
Come
series. It
on.
releases next month,
Yes.
and the book is based upon my life. So just seeing that it's gonna be my life for everyone to see, it's kind of I'm a little nervous, but at the same time I'm excited. Because I
Yes.
believe that everything we go through, like my frat just said, broken for a breakthrough, everything we go through,
Yes.
whether positive or negative, is not 100% for us. I think we are
Yes. That's
created
good.
to be helpers to one another. So those that are
Right.
dealing with any kind of traumatic situation, it's not always about you. So we'll get into that,
Wow.
but it's like really keep pushing, because on the other side of that, you'll have a testimony to help somebody else. So thanks,
Yes.
bro. Thanks,
Yes.
Frat. Appreciate that.
Yes.
So I just think that everything we go through really is to help and empower somebody else. I'm big on
That's right.
community. I'm big on village mentality. I'm big on giving back, and using my
Yes, you are.
experiences to empower others to be better. So that's what I'm all about. So Marty, let's get into this conversation. I'm excited. I'm
Let's get into
amped.
the. I'm excited too. Yes, yes, because you're right, Dante. You're always out in the community, and I love what you do because you talk about sexual health. Because when you were saying
Mhm.
all that, I said this Negro is trying to bring controversy into the church. We're going to deal with that on the second half of the show because you're just trying to stir it up. But I love that you address mental health, and you said something
Yeah.
earlier today. You said, you lots of change happening in your life. And with change often comes stress. With
Hmm.
change often comes anxiety. And
Hmm.
oftentimes we have trouble weighing out good anxiety and bad anxiety because when you're
Hmm.
going through it, it all registers the same. But
Hmm.
but what are you doing or what do you plan to do with and how do you manage your own when you find yourself needing to take a break or when you find yourself where you're at that point where you're about to break, when you're like, I need to kind of withdraw and get grounded again? How do you know when you're at that point? And second part of the question is, what do you do personally to re-engage and to ground yourself?
That's a good question, and it's funny because it literally took me 51 years, which is the age I am
Hmm.
now, to realize and accept that I'm a perfectionist. And as a
Okay. Oh,
perfectionist,
that's
we
good.
oftentimes tie ourselves in a knot because we don't want to see
Yes.
any flaws in what we're doing. And I've come to the
Ooh.
realization that everything is not going to be perfect all the time. I
Yes.
can get as close to
Yes.
it as possible, but it's not going to be perfect. And I have to give
Right.
myself room for error. That was a problem I had, and that stems from just the way I was raised growing up, even relationships. I
Yeah.
was trying to have
Yeah.
perfect relationships. And when they weren't perfect, I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? So I would end up repeating a
Mm.
lot of situations trying to fix it. Well, this time I'm going to do it this way to make it perfect. And I'm tying myself up, literally trying to satisfy everybody else, but I wasn't happy. So I'm in a
That's
space
good.
now where I realize that, okay, when I see myself about to flip or my mind is taking me to that place of
Right.
get it
Right.
right, get it right, get it right,
Right.
to stop, breathe. And to be honest
Yeah.
with you, my escape is reality TV
Get out of here.
because it is the polar opposite of how I live. So therefore, I will tune into Love and Hip Hop. I will tune into all that gutter stuff. If it's on the Zeus network, hey, let me check it
Oh
out
my God.
because it is
That
polar
drives me
opposite
crazy.
how I live. Yeah. So let me go see them act a fool, because I can detach. But if I'm watching
Right.
stuff that's kind of close to how my life is, I feel like I'm still in that same zone. So I'm like, okay, let me just back up. But I also love shows like the
Right.
First 48, Law and Order, that kind of stuff. It does something to me because it's something that I do not do, so I don't have to think about it.
Yes,
It's
I hear
weird.
you. I hear.
It's weird.
No, it works. And thank you guys for the comments that you're putting up. Daryl, can you put about the small business comment back up too? Because I thought that was a great one. Yes, it says, I use my small business as a stress reliever. It allows me to break away and focus on something else. It's almost like the more stressed I am, the more creative I get. That's good that you understand that how creativity flows.
Loose. Don't judge, Fred. Don't judge. Don't judge. Yes.
but but but
Oh,
but we need those stress relievers and whatever it
right.
is, and I can't judge what you like to relieve you of stress, because that increases my anxiety, because I just go, I can't believe people are this stupid. Oh my God, that just sends me through the roof.
But but
And
you know why I do that? Because I also have I have an addictive personality. And I know that if I
okay,
pick up on something else to relieve stress, like drugs or alcohol or whatever, I may not come
right,
back from it because then
okay,
I'll
that's
start
good.
relying on it. Watching Ratchet TV, albeit it fries your brain negatively, but I know that I can turn the TV off. But if I got addicted to, like, let's even just weed, weed or whatever, to decompress, say, let me go home and roll me up one so I can just relax. Then I'm finding
Right,
myself just chasing that high all the time. And
that's good.
I don't want to be addicted to anything that's going to just take me completely out of my element. For some people that works and they can roll with it and they're fine with it. But I know me. I know me. So yeah, I have to do
That's
something
good.
safe. I have to have a safe habit.
I understand. I love that you get to know yourself, because I believe that many of us don't know who we are. Number one, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the questions I ask anyone who I'm coaching, counseling, doing whatever. One of the first questions I ask is, who are you? And Dr. Dante, many of us don't know who we are, and usually by the second or third time I'm asking that, you see the tears welling up in their eyes, because we
Mm-hmm.
don't know who we are. But I love that you understand that you're a perfectionist, and perfectionists, their anxiety level when things are not perfect or how you imagined it or not
Mm-hmm.
according to plan, that can send you
Mm-hmm.
over the edge. And
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, and we have to know how we're wired. Is this for men only? really? No, Queen LP, listen, you in here,
No,
you the queen, baby. Make yes, yes. We will address the queen as well. But which real, although June is Men's Health Awareness Month, but a lot of these same traits roll over in all of us. And I love what you're
mm-hmm,
saying as being a perfectionist. And even this, men and black men and even independent black women, are we even given permission to make mistakes or not always having to present as being perfect? And when we see sometimes our other counterparts doing half the quality of what we do and they're being praised for it, you can't help but be
right,
upset about it. And it
right.
drives us to another dimension and perspective that we have to always be perfect, causing us to not take care of ourselves
Yeah,
in
and
that
then
regards.
you end up that ends up rolling over to how you treat others, and then you
Yes.
have these high expectations of regular
Yes.
people. You know, and
Yes.
it's like they're looking like, yo, I don't need to be perfect. Yes, you do. And if you're not perfect, then we're not
Right.
gonna work out. We're not gonna, this isn't gonna work. And we lose a lot of good people, intimate, friend, the
That's
whole
good.
nine, because we have put these high expectations on people based upon what we believe, or how we believe they should be acting, which is not fair.
I love that, and I think and it then rolls into us as well, putting unrealistic expectations upon us, and therefore ignoring when these signs happen. I agree with Dr. Rita Walker out of the University of Houston, where she says we have experienced so much trauma in our lives till we no longer recognize when we are in crises, and that is
Mm-hmm.
so important. I want to bring on
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dante, our next guest, with us because I believe that statement that Dr. Rita Walker says is very imperative because this brother, love him to death and glad that he is here, did not heed to the warnings of his body, which caused him to have a very serious physical reaction that where he almost lost his life. So, not a stranger to the Mental Health Marty show, not his first time on the show, but this brother is a faithful, avid listener. He always promotes everything. So I'm glad that when I called him, he was available. So let's bring back none other than my brother, Jeff Walker. Jeff,
What's up? What's up? How you doing?
what's going? I'm well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good, man. Thank you for staying up late. I know it's late out there in the DMV area, but listen, man, so good to
Just a
see
little
you.
bit.
Listen, just a little bit. Listen, okay, that beard is popping, man. You're making me have to work on mine some. Wait a minute.
Oh man, it's been a work in process. It's been a work in process. I'm just glad
It
it's
is.
it's it's, it's doing its thing now. So
Okay, okay. Man, Jeff, listen, I know your story and I know who you are. First, can you introduce who you are for those who may not know who you are? And then I want to definitely jump right into your amazing story and testimony.
I am Jeff Walker. I am originally from Michigan, but I've relocated to Washington D.C. And I am a mental health advocate.
Yes,
I am a trauma survivor, and so
yes,
all of that entails our mental well being and how
yes.
we adjust to certain things, and so. Yeah, I'm an advocate for those who are for mental health wellness and for those who are in crises.
Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to the DMV. I know that's right. Now, Jeff, your story is so phenomenal, and I know Dr. Dante may not be familiar with your story, and just about how in not paying attention or this need as a black man, this need to always be perfect, like Dr. Dante was saying, this need to have to always excel, the need to often to have to always provide, the need to always protect, and all those things, and how it led to this spiraling down of your mental health till it affected you physically. Can you share with us part of that story that you went through? Because I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, man. So again, we as black and brown men, we are under an enormous amount of stress, and sometimes we don't
Yes.
know that we are even under that much pressure or stress
Right.
because it's just
Right.
something that we deal with. And
Yes.
in my particular case, there was a lot of things that was happening all at once. You know, a lot of things that were a lot of moving factors
Right.
that was happening. Relationship wise, there was, you know, some things that I was harboring from a previous relationship that I
Right.
wasn't or didn't know how to let go. That
Right.
also contributed to what was going on with what happened with me. So I'll just jump right into it. Um,
Yeah.
uh, July 23rd, 2019, I woke up with a massive headache. The night before, went to everything was fine. I went to bed. I didn't
Right.
feel
Right.
anything. Of course, my body was taking its score to let me know
Right.
it's time to sit down.
Right.
So I woke up the next morning with a massive headache. Thought it was a migraine. Mm, um, and doctors called it a thunderclap headache. I thought nothing about it. I was just like, it's a
Right.
migraine. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead about my day, went about my routine. And really, you know, I have to say it this way in order for you guys to get to understand. I
Yeah.
went about my,
Yeah.
you know, I had to sit down in the shower because I just needed to rest. I got out of the shower, finished my hygiene routine, lay down, said I'm going to lay down and sleep it off, and I would just sleep it off for a minute. The minute I laid down and closed my eyes, I just heard God's voice say, "Get up, keep moving. Get up, keep moving." He
Yeah.
said it 3 times. So I got up, I kept moving.
Kept
I
moving.
got dressed. I drove myself to work. I had a conference call that I could not miss.
Right. Right.
So I was
Dante, your face is like mine when I first heard it. He has this massive headache,
Work. Yeah.
and
But
right,
that's
right.
something I
He had
would
to,
do.
right. Would but many of us would. He had to sit down
Yeah.
in the shower just to gap. Didn't have the strength. Said, "I'm going to lay down just for a minute." But God, thank God for the voice of God. Come on.
Right.
Got up,
But I
got
gotta go
dressed,
to work.
drove. Right. I
yeah.
got to go to work. Drove himself to work. Continue. Continue.
And got to work, conducted my conference call. I believe I was speaking to who to them as I'm talking to you, but my
Right.
colleague came in and I spoke, and she noticed that something wasn't right, and immediately went into something's not right. Jeff, I need to call the ambulance. I refuse. This is all I'm telling you.
Right. Right. Right.
What was told me. I refused. I refused. So she had me get my phone. Told me to who can she call. I pointed to one of my best friends' number. She called her, and Kaya came. Had one of our residents with her. Came and drove me to the hospital. When they got me to the hospital and triage, my blood pressure registered 280 over 172. So there is no way I should be sitting here talking to you guys. They
Right.
said that was the highest that they've ever seen registered and on someone who was alive. And
Right.
so I was rushed to sister hospital. And from that point, that I was notified I had a hemorrhagic stroke, two brain bleeds, one in the front, one in the back. I was in ICU for 9 days. I had to learn how to walk, all of those things. Yeah,
And this was just you're coming up on the anniversary. This just happened in 2019, and to be here in
correct.
2023, 4 years later, to be able to talk about this. Jeff, I've been knowing you for over 2 years now, um, and man, every time I hear it, it moves me even more and more, and I'm so grateful, Dante. But wouldn't that be like most of us?
Yeah. I mean, that is most of us.
Yes.
Especially as black men, we're taught to keep going. We're taught to push
Yes.
past everything. Nothing is going to break us down because any sign of weakness or pain or hurt, we're
Yes.
emasculated. So we just
Yes.
we just deal with the pain and we keep going, knowing that we're
Right.
darn near at death's door. But I'd rather die standing, than laying down in
Right.
pain. So it's just this weird conundrum that we're forced to live in as black men. So Jeff, I'm glad you're
Yes.
still here, bro. That's
Yes.
deep,
Most
and that is, man, that's a
Yes.
lot. But like you, I would have went to work. I got a meeting to do.
right.
I can't miss
Right.
the
I got a
conference
meeting to
call.
do. Yep. Yep. And
Yeah,
Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, you said the doctors had said had you had laid down
Had
you would
had
have died.
Yes, yes. They said they had told my family, and I have PTSD because of this. I
Sure.
was resting, and they were, conversing with my family and giving updates. And my neurologist had told my family that had I went to sleep, I wouldn't
Mm,
have woken back up.
my God. Wow.
So,
Wow.
so
wow.
now there are moments when I have headaches and I will refuse to go to. I don't want to go to sleep, but then also
Sure.
my body will get to a point where it gets exhausted and I have
Right.
to sleep, but I be scared out of my mind. I tell you,
Sure. No,
but
Jeff, and thank you for being
um,
so transparent with that because, yeah, PJ, it is a beast. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I appreciate your transparency and sharing that because many of us have great fears that we don't realize, and I love it because you're right. Anytime my head would start, I think I had a headache, I might freak out, be like, okay, I'll be that doctor on speed dial.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and this is this is the reason why I am being transparent, because I need
right.
other men, I need other brothers to know that whatever you don't feel right, you need to get that checked out. You need to you
Yes.
need to take
But
care of
God.
ourselves.
Yes.
And this is the reason why there was a point in my life where I wasn't transparent, because I thought I wasn't vulnerable, because I thought that was weak. I thought that was a weakness. But
Ooh,
through
that's
this whole
good.
experience, I realized that my transparency and my vulnerability, first of all, then the transparency is a strength,
Yes.
because it's all in
Yes.
how you display it and how you present it to others, to get them to see that it is okay. And I want all black men, all brown men, all women, and anybody to just know that whatever you're
Yeah.
going through, it's okay to find that safe space, find that person or persons that you can confide in, so that you know that you are safe and you be able to
Mm,
tell them what's going on, so that you can get the help that you need. That's the reason why I became an advocate for mental health wellness, because
I love
I
it,
want to
man.
be able to provide. I want to be able to provide that safe space. If you don't feel that you can go to someone based upon what you think they're going to think about
Yeah.
you or believe about you, I want to be that person that you can come to say, "Hey, Jeff, man, I need your ear. I need
Yeah.
your. I don't know what I'm going to do out of this. Is how I'm feeling." 9 times out of 10, if it's a trauma related issue, I've been there. I call myself the poster child for trauma experiences. I am a sexual assault survivor. I am a suicide attempt
Wow.
survivor. All of those things
Wow.
encompass
Yeah.
what we need to do. So I have to be able to give a little bit of myself to let people see a little bit of myself, to show them that
Yes.
they are not alone. And I used to be
yes,
ashamed to say those
That's
other
right.
two S's,
Yes.
but
Yes.
now I don't care, because there 1 in 6 boys is affected by sexual assault, and and,
Yes.
and, and and suicide is one of the highest causes of death among black men.
Yes.
yes,
So,
Yes.
yes,
And if I'm not mistaken, and Dr. Dante, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think that statistic has gone up to 1 in 4 young
especially after
boys
the
between the.
pandemic.
Yes, it has
Yeah,
increased. And so there's this
mm,
whole cry that we have to, one, we have to listen to our young men. And if
hmm,
they're acting and the behaviors are different, we need to listen to them because they may not know how to articulate what they're
hmm.
going through. And we need to stop blaming them. But let me go back to Dr. Dante. Don't you think his testimony and his is just mind blowing?
It's
Absolutely.
beyond. It's beyond.
Right.
But the thing about it is that it's not exclusive to him.
Yes.
I guarantee you, if we were
Yes.
to just survey black and brown
My
men
God.
across the country, we would hear that story over and over and over about all the men that forsake themselves for a job
Yes.
or their family or their friends while their health was deteriorating. And if you
Yes.
saw my frat brother put on the comments, because we're a military fraternity, he said the
Right.
Navy
Right.
will give you, 800 milligram pills or time. I'll go
I,
home. You'll be all right. and
yep.
and
Yep.
that work ethic, I'm a veteran. That work ethic is still with me to this day. I literally have
Right.
almost 2 months of sick time because I'm like, no, I can push through, I can go to work. And I began to judge people that was taking off sick. It's just a
Right.
sniffle, come and do his job. And we get that kind of PTSD because we're told keep pushing through,
Yep.
you'll be fine. Hunger is just an emotion, headache is just an
Yep.
emotion, work through it.
Yes.
Because we're not told how to exist as humans.
That
And
part,
that
because
we got to change
they
that
have
narrative.
inhumanized us. I agree.
Right.
We have to. First, we saw that the Constitution called us 3/5 of a man and not a
Three
full
fifths.
man, and that's a lie.
Right.
But we have
Right.
to look at ourselves as being whole ourselves, and look at ourselves
Hmm.
as being worthy and worth having the time off, or worth having to say, I can't do this today, and really value ourselves. So, Jeff, I appreciate that. And a lot of us don't talk about the suicide ideation. And I'm also
We
going with
don't.
Dr. Rita Walker. She talks about that when we fail to take our medicines, when we fail to go to the doctor, when we fail to get those checkups, that we're doing a form of slow suicide,
Hmm.
because it's going to eventually catch up with us. And that's what hey, high five you, bro, and say, take a Sabbath. That's right. That's right.
Right.
John Henry Scott. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
But
Right.
you got to have
Right.
that. But Jeff, man, and I hope and pray that your story continues. You continue to say that you got to get a book somehow. Talk to the book expert over here, Dr. Donta, because your story needs to be told and heard by so many to help them out. And continue the platform that you're on, man. Man, I so appreciate you and just sharing
I
this
appreciate
tonight.
Yeah.
I
Yes, yes.
Definitely.
appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on again, man. And just to quote a young brother that you've had on your show before, Robert Marshall Jr. He
Yes.
says that healing is the journey, but wholeness is the destination. And
Ooh, yes.
I've gotten connected to this brother and some other
Good.
brothers through his organization, and
Yes.
they are a phenomenal group of men that encourages one another, that lifts one another, and so
Yes.
um, I just appreciate, and I just want to be a part of that number to help encourage and support where needed. And I appreciate,
Yes. Yes.
having you bringing me on your platform to kind of tell my story and put that out there.
Most definitely. And your story is so it is not. I share that story all the time, and thank you, because you don't know how many men in sessions I've told your story to. Because
Hmm.
they have related, like Dr. Dante has said, they have related to it when they don't take the time off, when they don't do all those things. And so they're finding themselves at the breaking point. And so when you're at that breaking point, I believe I have a new resolve about suicide and suicide ideation. It's just that we need the pain to end,
Right.
and
Mhm.
whatever that pain is, and talking it out helps the pain to end.
Right.
Getting around some brothers that can say, brother, we got you right now, you don't have to be strong, that helps the pain to end.
Hmm.
To get on platforms and share your story and tell your testimony, that helps the pain to end. And so if we find safer interventions in helping the pain to end, suicide will not be an option. It won't even come up, and we'll be able to help other brothers off the ledge with that. So, Jeff, my brother, much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, brother, brother. I'm going to have you back on and doing some other things too as well. And you got Dr. Donta. Don't be surprised he hit you up and doing some stuff too, because his platform's absolutely amazing. So Jeff, thank you again for coming on, sharing that story with us, man. And can't wait to. I'll be in the I'll be in the DMV in September. And I'll connect with you. I almost blew something big time, but I'll be there in September, and I'll see you then. We got more to come on that one. Love you, brother. Love you. Much love.
All right. Thank you.
I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better.
You gotta work on you, man. You gotta work on
you, man. But isn't Jeff's story so powerful?
It is, and I applaud any brother that has the strength to be transparent.
Yes.
And I'll be glad when we get to the point where we stop calling a dude weak for being honest and open and transparent. That takes strength. It takes more strength to tell your truth than to sit back and cloak everything in this facade of wellness. So I applaud that. And anyone that is watching or is watching or gonna watch this, the replay, just know that you are not alone. Whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. We're all in this together. There was a comment that said we're perfect imperfections. I believe it said we're perfect imperfections, and we got to take that time to just step back and breathe. Yes, we got to take a break and rest. But then, Marty, you're the therapist. So what does taking a break and resting look like for someone who has never taken a break and rested? It's cliche. It sounds wonderful to say.
It is.
But if you've never been taught to do that, how do you do that? How do you know when you're really resting and you haven't just stopped? Because you can stop and still ain't rested.
This is true. I think it's a process, because you're not going to change 10, 15, 20, 30 years of a negative behavior overnight. And too often, I think we get frustrated with the small steps. And if I can take an hour, 15 minutes and start there. One of the hardest things of doing is teaching people meditation, because their mind wanders. I remember when I was doing
teaching Christians. Let's just open that door. Christians will not meditate. Christians will not sit. Christians will not take a deep breath. Christians will not center themselves. I can't let my mind do that. Because that's the devil's playground, and I got to make sure I stay focused on. If you don't get somewhere and sit down and just meditate.
But that's ignorance as well, because we don't understand that meditation and all that began with us, within Christendom, within Judaism. That was we see that throughout the Bible. We see that Daniel turned his face and went to the east of that 3 times a day. What was he doing? Praying and meditating and hearing from God. And we feel that. So that's a whole nother thing. That you got me on the spiritual tip now.
But I'm not lying.
But you're absolutely right.
That, because within the Black community, the church leads the way on a lot of stuff. And the church also plants seeds that deters people from accessing comprehensive mental health services. It's like you don't need to go talk to nobody but God. But God made the therapist, and we can no longer keep hiding the importance of seeking out therapy under the bush. Yes, God is great. God is good all the time. I love Jesus Christ, period. But if God says, Donta, you need to sit down and talk to somebody, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit down and talk to somebody. Because we need to deconstruct all this stuff that's been poured into us by people that have no concept of what holistic health and healing looks like.
That's just my soapbox. No, I get it. I think it's a triad. A mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul in that. And if any of that triad, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, Dr. John Henry Scott III, meditation now is part of his daily devotional. Exactly. Dr. John Henry Scott III, we're going to have you on sometime in July, if not August at the very latest, because I want us to have this dialogue about demonizing mental health. and how we've made having anxiety or depression a demon when that is not the case, because we go through different things. I want to go back to a point that Jeff had said earlier about suicide ideation, and you are
Mm-hmm.
the guru king, the go-to when it when it comes to everything LGBTQ in the Black community, Black and brown community, especially as you've done so much in the greater LA area and Southern California area. Why is suicide ideation and the fear of that so high in our Black LGBT communities, especially in those in their teens and 20s? Why is that so high now?
Well, you got to think about the fact that everybody wants to feel loved and accepted. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're told by the people that you trust the most to be your covering,
Yes.
to be your protectors, that you don't matter, you're not nothing, and I'm
Right.
not going to have anything to do with you unless you change your ways. Going back to the church, unless you get that demon cast out of you, you are going
Oh,
to be
that's
a
good.
stench unto the nostrils, and you're an abomination. So if we are
Right.
constantly demonizing people and villainizing people and making people feel less than, what point do they
Right.
have to stay here? So a
That's
lot of
good.
people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or any of the other acronyms, if they don't have a sense of value or self-worth, why should I
And
stay
belonging.
here? You
Yes.
tell me that God doesn't love me, my mama doesn't love my
Right.
daddy, one who I thought loved me, doesn't really love me. They just want to use my
Right.
body. I don't feel like anything. So you said something key. It's not about wanting to end my life. It's about wanting the
Right.
pain to stop. You know, they don't really want to die. I don't
Yes.
want to die per se, but I no longer want to feel this hurt that comes
There
with
we
my
go.
mere
There we
existence.
go.
Because you're telling me that
Yeah.
my mere existence is problematic. So then if I cease to exist, I'll be not only doing you a favor and you'll feel better because I love you enough to leave, I'll
Oh,
be
that's
doing myself a
oh.
favor as well. You
Wait,
know,
wait, wait.
so if you have
Hold on. You
okay, go
said
ahead.
something. You said something
Yeah.
that I've not pondered before, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that because if we parallel that with, I just need this pain to end, and if
Mm-hmm.
I'm causing you the pain, and I
Mm-hmm.
love you enough, let me
Mm-hmm.
eliminate. Ooh, let me
Then I'll
eliminate
just go.
myself.
Yeah. Because if
Ooh,
my mother and my father is telling me I'm an embarrassment to the
Doctor
family
Dante,
name, I'm ruining the legacy, I'm not this.
Doctor
Well,
Dante.
mommy, I don't want to keep you in tears, so I will just
Oh
leave.
my
And
God.
that should lift the pain off your
Oh my
shoulders, right?
God.
And I
Because
have seen that so many times. Go ahead,
oh,
Marty. I'll let you.
that's
I'll lob
no,
the
no.
ball to you.
I,
Go ahead.
I'm just, that is so powerful
Mhm.
because I still go with 90% of those who are doing this suicide ideation. They don't want to kill themselves.
They
They
don't.
don't. They just want that pain. We have to be promoters of hope. Hope, beloved, I wish. Come on and quote the scripture. Come on,
Hmm.
even as your soul. That's right. And we forget that scripture. We want to condemn, but too often we need to help them out and give hope,
Right.
and give love. Now abideth faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is
Is
love. Come on, we
right.
talking scripture now. Y'all done
Right.
flip the script on the show, and when
Right.
we show the love of Christ in the way that He loved, and
Hmm.
in that regards, then we take away the despair and we change despair for destiny. Come on, somebody. Y'all done got me revved up a
You
little
can't
bit.
help it. You
Yes,
can't. It's but it's in you. It's in you.
right. And how
But
do
I
we
think it's
change the narrative
how do we
of
change the
what people are
narrative?
going through? Yes. Go ahead.
having
Go ahead.
having having real conversations like this, having men who are not scared to come on and say, yo, if I would have laid down, I would have died because I did
Mm-hmm.
not want to go to the hospital. Having men
My
like me
God.
come on and say,
Yes.
yes, I grew up in the system, I grew up in the church, I grew up in all that, but God equipped me enough to have the strength to stand on my own 2 feet despite what Christians said I am or am not. And I think that by living in our truth and I can't stress that enough, living in our truth. If all the men out there would live in their truth. Hey, Robert, how you doing, brother? Love you, man.
Robert.
If all the men out there would just live in their truth, it's like, okay, you like other men, be honest. Okay, you're bisexual, be honest. Okay, you like transgender individuals, be honest. If we can just begin to have honesty within our communities, all of these other narratives, they'll get old and they'll get stale. And it's
Right.
like, bro, you still homophobic? We ain't tripping off that no more. Bro, you still this?
Right.
We ain't tripping off that no more.
Well,
But people find so much joy and satisfaction in outing people. For some
yes.
kind of reason,
Well,
that gets people so excited. You know, they want to out them. They
well,
want to tell their business. That's why I tell my own story. Let me tell my own story
yeah,
because y'all gonna mess
that's
it up.
good.
You know.
That's so good. But the quote unquote outing is about power and control. When we
Yes.
look at those dynamics, we're looking at, and I likened it to a DV, domestic violence, IPV, intimate
Mhm,
partner violence relationship
mhm.
in that, because now I've brainwashed you so I can have control over you, because if
Yeah.
I give you the threat of outing you in that regard, then I have power and control over you. Now,
Right.
can we pull back the covers that I don't want to pull back, but we got to pull back on, as some of these young men have been, and I'll say it this way, turned out. There's a whole nother conversation, and we're going to touch it and run with it back. You already know where I'm going. You already know where
Let's
I'm
see.
going. Have
Go on. Let me
been,
see.
been been turned out by the same pastors that
Hmm.
threaten to out them, because they have
Hmm.
to have power and control over them so they don't share their own business in that regards.
Hmm.
Now that's a whole nother discussion. That's a
Well,
whole
that
nother show.
narrative is shifting. That
Okay.
narrative is shifting because Generation Z, hats off to them. They not with that. So
Right.
you be a pastor if you want to and mess around with Gen Zers because they will sit on your front row and show the video and be unapologetic about it and still love God and will still shout the church down. But they not with that no more. I think back in my day of growing up in the church, there was a level of decorum that you had with your
Right.
proclivities. You know, so if you
With
did happen to mess around with
proclivities.
the pastor, you knew well enough not to let that seep out into the congregation because you don't want to destroy the church. But the Gen Z and some millennials, they bought that life. And they like, Pastor, what you're not going to do is be in my bed on Saturday night and then get up and preach all the gays to hell on Sunday morning. We're not doing that, Pastor. So if you want to play that game, we can play it because I have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. I have all this stuff out there. So and Fred, I don't think he's talking about turning someone out. I think he's talking about predatory behaviors. When you have
Yes.
older men
Yes.
that's involving themselves with younger men that don't know the ins and outs of this life, and then they take advantage. And
But
back
can
in
I
the
say
day,
this too?
go ahead,
Go ahead.
yeah,
No, I said
I,
because that's a mental health condition as well that we don't
yeah,
want to talk about. Because
yes,
again, this whole thing of power and control, I have a whole
it's a
nother
dynamic.
dynamic about that, especially when we're talking about educated versus uneducated, all these other
Mm-hmm.
things in that. But I don't want to lose context on the psychological trauma that
Trauma.
happens, that we don't address, and we tell them shut up. Again, we're continuing the negative narrative that
Mm-hmm.
already men have as boys.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, man up, don't cry, don't be a
Don't
punk,
cry.
don't be a sissy, you're acting
Yeah,
like a faggot, and those
yeah,
type of things. I'm using that language just to bring emphasis in it.
yeah.
And now they do the same thing again when they've now been sexually abused or controlled by IPV, and mentally, physically, financially, whatever that might be. And
Internalized
so now
homophobia.
this, yes, yes. And so now we have this trauma on trauma. So I call this now complex trauma that
Uh
is
huh.
going on. And the very people that I now get into relationship with, the only way that someone's going to love me is they can use my body,
Right.
but not love my brain or my mind or what I bring to the table. So yes, there is a lack of hope. There is a lack of love. So I never know what love feels like. And I believe, and I love what you're doing, is doing this intersection between mental health and sexual wellness, because I think there's so much on this quote unquote sexual wellness that's
Yeah.
not wellness, till we totally negate the mental wellness and the mental health portion of it, so we could continue this perpetual downward spiral, causing the PTSD that Jeff was talking about and the other traumatic situations that happen in life. So you wonder why people are not healthy, because we have not dealt with the basic outliners of what's really going on in life.
But you said something else, Marty. You said they end up they don't know what they don't know what love is, or however you broke it
Yeah, they
all
don't.
down. But I think that the deeper thing is they do think they know what love is, because it's
Yes.
their love is normalized. That behavior has become so normalized. They think this is love. I was in some very toxic relationships before I got with my
Mm-hmm.
current partner, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought that love behaved a certain way. So with my current partner,
Right.
we never argued and all that kind of stuff. And for the longest time, I thought there was no love there because dishes wasn't getting thrown. You ain't cussing me out. I ain't cussing you out. Wasn't no fighting. Wasn't no you get out.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
like, oh, you must don't love me then, because and I believe that. I believe that there was not some kind
Right.
of volatile behavior, then the love was not authenticated. And
But
I
that's why you have to
equated it
always.
with passion. There's no passion in this relationship. Where's the
Right.
passion? you
But
know?
we have to look at, yeah, what our models of love is like, and
Right.
where did you see love modeled, and what is that model, and is it just the Cosbys? And we know that's a fictitious situation, because we know the life of Bill Cosby, so that ain't right.
Right.
What was it? Was it Fresh Prince of Bel Air? What was your models of love, and your examples of love, and do we see it? And that's why I love shaking family trees. What's the divorce rate in your family? What's the
Right.
marriage rate? How long are they staying married? Where did you get love from? Who showed you love? Define love. And with me, even looking at my situation, growing up in a domestic violent household, and so being extremely passive aggressive and trying to push things under the carpet, so that's not a true model of love. So where
Right.
did you learn love? Because that's going to define so much about even your own inner strength. But we have to deal with who we are, where we are, and deal with all these competing traumatic circumstances, and then rescript the narrative,
Right.
edit out those things, so that we have a more powerful story to tell about our lives.
I agree. I agree. Even when it comes to sex and intimacy, people
Th-
know how
th-
to have sex, but they'll know how to be intimate. Everybody can
Right.
go in there and ram it up and down for 10, 15 minutes, but can you be intimate afterwards? Or is it like, you're not staying, are you? So it's like even that, there's a lot of folks that just do not know how to be intimate, and intimacy makes them uncomfortable because intimacy also requires a level of vulnerability. And I'm not ready to
But
do
we
that
also got,
with you.
and intimacy is not sex. In
Right.
so many contexts, and we have not even learned as men how to be "quote unquote" intimate with each other. That's in a non-sexual context, because we think, oh, that's no, no. Being intimate in our conversations and being vulnerable in that regard. Queen says, "Pound, pound." Right,
Pound
right, and
pound.
that's the. I can't.
Y'all know
I
what I'm talking
can't.
about.
Yeah, Dr. Dante, our time is up already. Can you even believe we just getting started? We
Yeah.
barely scratched the surface.
We,
We opened up a
we
lot of
just,
can of
you know,
worms.
you can't talk about the church and not get me all riled up. The black church gets me ruffled. That gets me ruffled. I wrote a whole dissertation
Okay,
about it. It's ruffled.
I understand. I understand. Dr. Dante, we want to know, how can we get to this? You got to have somebody screening. How do we watch your series? How do we buy the book? How do we support you? All those amazing things. What do we do? I don't know. I'm lost. Do I even have an invite to this? Because
You
I need to
haven't.
go buy a suit and everything. I got to go buy a hat. I'm acting like I'm going on to church on first Sunday. All that stuff. How do we stay in
Most
contact with you,
deaf.
Dr.
I
D?
just put the link to watch my series. It premieres July 26th on Watch Them on watchvim.com. So the series is called 30.
Watchthim.com.
The series is called 30. It is based upon my book, The End of the Rainbow. So it is 7 episodes, and these 7 episodes cover the first half of my first book, which is based upon my life. So it'll be available on Watch Vim. Just go to Watch Vim and create your account and all that kind of stuff. And then after Watch Vim, we're going to push it on over to Amazon and what have you. So I'm super excited about it. Yes, July 26th
That is so dope.
When it premieres and launches. And I can't wait to see what we've pieced together and put together and how you guys respond to it. So thank you, Marty, for that.
Man, that is so, I'm so proud of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, we're going to be there. We're going to get you going, all those great things. I cannot wait. And thank you for sharing that on the show. We're so proud of you, man, and all the great work that you're doing. You got to let us know what's happening with you, post all of this and what's going on in your life.
By July 1st, July 1st, a lot of announcements will happen come July 1st. So just follow me on social media, Donta Morrison on Facebook, Donta_Morrison on Instagram, and then the Donta Show or Donta Morrison on YouTube. So just subscribe, follow, and just check out your boy. It's a lot of stuff happening over the next 2 months that's going to make you be like, oh, dang, he was really moving in silence, huh? I was really moving
in silence. He really was. Wow. Well, Dr. Donta, much love, brother. I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to see all the amazing things you're going to be doing and how you're going to be unleashing yourself in the near future. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Darren, I'm going to put up the graphic for the book, and then we're going to exit out of here. We're so grateful for Dr. Donta coming on tonight as we continue this conversation. We're so excited about next month, in the month of July. It is about, believe it or not, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color, mental health. And so we're going to continue this dialogue about mental health in our Black and Brown communities and what that looks like. But I'm so excited to remind you about my children's book that I wrote called Chris is Sad. And we definitely want you to check it out on Amazon.com and please purchase the book, Chris is Sad. And we would greatly appreciate that. It's a great read for your kindergarten, first, second, and third graders, just to talk about the whole challenge of divorce and how we have the proper conversations with our young people. There, we're going to go straight to the end. In this journey called life, we don't want you to continue to secretly suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but we want to stop the stinking thinking by breaking the silence and speaking up, speaking out in order that you might be able to live and enjoy your best life. Thank you, and we'll see you next week for Hot Topics with the crew themselves. Take care and God bless.